Let's talk about some of the other moments that we've had in commentary with our pal, good old JR. A good friend of mine and yours, and I know he's an Oklahoma man and you're a Texas man, but I've heard through the grapevine that, boy, Vince loved messing with him, and maybe he kept doing it because JR would sell. And when JR would sell, it just motivated Vince to do more. And at times, man, from the outside looking in, it looked kind of downright mean-spirited. But I'm sure it came from a place of we're all children and we're busting balls and all that sort of thing with Vince. Do you have any fun Vince JR stories you can share with us?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make excuses for it. When I say we're all children, that's what we were. We were just fun. It was a different generation. Okay. Was it wrong? Yes. If you think it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not trying to justify anything we did or didn't do or Vince did or anything that happened or the generation itself. That shit just happened. Guys loved to rib back then. And also one thing Vince hated was boredom. Vince hated boredom. So when you look at shows like during, like say lead up to WrestleMania, like they have right now, this is going to be some really cool, fun times. People, celebrities want to come in. This is an incredible time of the year. Well, get around May, June, when you don't have anything and SummerSlam's still a ways away, or get around September when SummerSlam's over and you don't have anything till Survivor Series, and Survivor Series had lost its prestige as one of the big four, so it didn't matter like SummerSlam and WrestleMania did anymore, or Royal Rumble. That's when Vince got bored. And Vince loved to stir things up. He hated when guys would sit out there and just call the match and everything hunky-dory. He'd love to stir guys up. Vince, by the way, did the same thing to me. When he'd have guests, wrestlers out there, especially ones that weren't very glib, that weren't used to talking, Vince would feed them line after line. And I know they came from Vince because they were way too freaking creative and inside to me, because this person didn't know me very well. Vince loved to stir me up. He thought it made the product better because it got me motivated to do something. Now, I don't know if that was what happened with JR. Maybe he just liked stirring up JR. But my God, the ribs on JR. I mean, now we'll get to one of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling when he punched Big Dick Johnson in the balls, which to this day could be the greatest thing that happened in the history of wrestling. In the history, that man idolizes John Wayne. JR was John Wayne that day. I mean, I'll just go straight to it. So Big Dick Johnson, was the writer, who did kind of the Chris Farley type gimmick. Very creative guy, wonderful guy, really, really smart guy. Vince really liked him, but he'd go out there, in his thong, diaper, whatever it was, and he'd do the dance and all this stuff. Well, at the end of the show, he's going to get up on the table. We're off air at this point. It's all filmed. It's on the internet somewhere. You can look it up where JR did it, and you can see all the things I'm telling you about. And he's squirting baby oil in the air, and he's getting it all over JR, which is what he's supposed to do because Vince told him to do that. Again, okay. It's just a rib. It's a rib on JR. Is it unprofessional? Yes. Did we find it funny? Yes. We did. Okay. Sue us over, hate us over, whatever you want to do. So anyway, he's doing all this shit to JR, and JR gets up and he turns to King. He goes, "What's the over under? I punch him in the balls." And King goes, "You won't do that." JR turns and freaking Joe Frazier right hooks Big Nick right in the balls. I mean, socked him right in the nutsack in front of 15,000 people. He sat there, this big guy looked like kind of like Chris Farley. This was kind of the character he played. Grabs his balls, falls over, hits the table, and rolls the oil to the floor. And JR walked off like John Wayne. It was one of the coolest things to this day I've ever seen. It was so funny. We popped so big backstage for JR to do that. It was tremendous. It was JR finally had enough or he was just being, JR was having fun too. Is that fun to punch a guy in the balls? Apparently it is because we thought it was entertaining as hell.
You've probably seen some of the things that Vince would do to rile up JR. Have you ever seen him?
I was there for a lot of them.
Well, give us a few here.
Oh my God! What were you going to say? I'll take off.
No, listen, we talked earlier about the whole transition from JR to Michael Cole and how the internet really jumped on that. Yeah. I wasn't there. I don't know, but I got to think that Vince had fun with that too.
Oh my God. Vince loved writing that stuff for Michael Cole. Those pictures of Michael Cole when he's in that little box where King can't get him and where Cole is like the greatest athlete in Syracuse history, which by the way had Jim Brown at it. I put that out almost every year. Michael Cole's the greatest athlete in Syracuse history. And Michael always reminds me that, Jim Brown was there. I said, yeah, you're a lot better than him. But the stuff Michael did, again, we are so sad Michael wasn't 6'3", 265 pounds. He'd have headlined 18 Wrestle. He was one of the best heels WWE ever had. He was so freaking talented. And Vince loved writing for him, especially for JR. The rap battle was one of the greatest of all time. And, JR forgot his lines, and he turned to Cole, and he said, hey, help me out with my lines here. And Cole goes, nope. And just left him hanging. I mean, it's just one of those ribs, like, that was pretty clever. But I'll tell you one time we had, back in, it was always back in the day, what time frame that is, back in the day, as they say. Michael and I were doing commentary for, I guess, SmackDown, I believe, and JR and King were doing it for Raw. And so we'd have all of the announce tables set up, and I think even ECW was there with Taz, I think, maybe and Joy, I'm not sure. Anyway, but I know we were there for sure with them because of what happened. So Vince gets on my headset and he goes, Big John, I'm just talking to you. And so now I know something is important, but I know it has nothing to do with wrestling. I can tell by the way he's talking. This is going to be some good shit. This is going to be fun. Whatever happens next, I'm really going to enjoy because this is going to be great. It just had that different, voice when he was wanting to rib people. And so I'm sitting there listening. He's only talking to me. And he goes, JR has something on his face. I'm going to give him an on camera after the next match. He goes, get him. And I'm like, what? Well, now I have no idea. I have no idea what's happened. So I'm trying to look down the aisle and see what JR has on his face. And he has like a shave mark where he cut himself or something on his face, like a cheek or neck or something like that right on his face where I could see it because it was on my side. Thank God. And thank God Oklahoma had just lost a football game. So now imagine this. You want to talk about, you guys want to talk about unprofessional? Vince gives him, or fun, however you want to define it. I define it as fun. Vince gives him a on camera after a thing goes, maybe we're going to go on camera, throw to this. Well, my microphone's not supposed to be live. Okay. Because you can talk or do something. You're not going to end up on your thing, or there might be fans behind me saying something. My camera was not live unless I'm doing commentary. And then it's, right next to my mouth where you're not going to catch all of the ambient noise around you. So they go to this on camera, which is total ad lib. They get JR on camera and they get almost a close up of this cut on his face that he shaved himself or something with. And he goes, John, get him. And that's all the instructions. So I yelled out, I go, hey, JR. And JR's trying to ignore me because my microphone's not supposed to be live. And so I said it again. I go, hey, JR. Like old Black Bart. Hey, JR. No, and JR finally just kind of like looks. I said, what happened? Oklahoma losing, you try to slit your throat and miss? And brother Vince went ballistic. He goes, that's good. Well, JR is so taken aback by me doing this.
Yes.
That he looks at me and turns into a 7-year-old, which is completely understandable, and says, your mama. That's what he said back to me, was your mama. So I'm sitting there. I'm going, I've got him beyond belief now. And this is unbelievable. And Vince gets mad. He goes, that class is, he said something about your mother.
Oh, God damn.
I'm like, I deserve this. What are you talking about? And so anyway, they go to something else. And Vince is like still in there. He goes, he shouldn't have said something about your mother. I go, no, we shouldn't have interrupted his live on camera is what we shouldn't have done. So I get to the back afterwards and Laurinaitis is back there and he's wanting to make something of it. And he says, hey man, I just want to say something. JR saying something about your mother like that. I said, Johnny, I fucking deserve that. I said, he should have said a lot worse than that. I said, it sabotaged his own camera. I said, of course he said something about my mother. I said, I deserve all that. And Johnny's like, well, I don't know about that. I said, I do. Just leave it alone.
My God.